Return to office or resign. This is the message from the new Trump administration, and they're serious, guys. In fact, with a very bold plan to slash $100 billion in wasteful government spending, federal workers they're given a choice. Pack your stuff up or show up. Let me know, guys, is Trump doing more in like 10 days than Biden did in the whole administration? If you think so, just type in Trump's administration in the comments, guys. But that's not all. In fact, in a shocking move, General Mark Milley's security detail was stripped last night. And if investigations confirm that he undermined the chain of command, he could even lose a star in retirement. Meanwhile, the White House press room is buzzing with more reporters than we've seen in years. And it looks like they're actually replacing the empty seats of the Biden era. So the question now is, what's up with the media, right? They're running out of questions because Trump is answering everything. By the way, I appreciate you guys hitting the like button. Thank you so much for sharing this video. Thank you for all my new subscribers. I really appreciate you guys. We've been growing like crazy, and it's all because of you guys. Thank you so much for everything. And speaking of bombshells, guys, did you guys see this thing about the Obamas? Like, why did the Biden administration stay silent on issues that the Trump team just laid bare? Like the drone situation. All right. About the drone situation yesterday, you guys could check out that video that I released previously, but the White House talked about the drone situation, but I'm not all that thrilled with their response when they revealed the details about the drones. Y'all let me know what you think about that. But folks, this all feels way too eerily familiar, kind of like the first day of the Trump administration all over again. Anyway, I'm losing my voice here. Sorry, guys, please bear with me. But check this out from the White House earlier this morning. Check this out.
The Trump administration has a new mandate for millions of federal workers who have fallen in love with working from home in your PJs. Return to the office or resign.
I like the emphasis. Senior White House correspondent Peter Doocy has the details on the buyout.
Real quick, guys, how many of you guys, you folks watching the show right now, are at home working? And what would you do? Seriously, like this is serious talk here. What would you do if you got an email, just like the Trump administration just sent out to potentially millions of government employees, federal government employees, that said, if you don't come into office, you have to resign? Please let me know. Would you quit? If you would quit, type in, if you would resign, type in resign. If you would come into the office, if it was mandated, type in go into the office. But check out the terms of this one.
It's being offered to those employees. Good morning, Peter.
Good morning. The feds, the new Trump team, thinks they could save $100 billion taxpayer dollars because they think that many people, that many federal government employees are going to reply to an email they got last night with the word resign. Part of that email says, if you resign under this program, you will retain all pay and benefits regardless of your daily workload and will be exempted from all applicable in-person work requirements until September 30th, 2025, or earlier if you choose to accelerate your resignation for any reason. Some back of the napkin math. There are two.
Now, before they even do the back of the napkin math here, there's something that I wanted to kind of point out that they don't go into the details of, and this is going to be really important here. If you look at your screen, it says, if you resign under this program, you will retain all pay and benefits regardless of your daily workload and will be exempted from all applicable in-person work requirements until September 30th, 2025. So what that means is we all know there's some people who do a lot more work than other people. Some people show up for work and all they do is clock in and they know they ain't doing nothing. You know, all they do is they show up for work, check a couple of team or LinkedIn messages or whatever, you know, attend a couple of meetings, but they ain't really doing nothing. Like if they took weeks off, no one would even notice them, right? So this email saying that even if you resign, regardless of your workload, they'll be exempted. And check this out, guys. They're going to be exempted from all in-person work requirements until September 30th. So what this sounds like is they're going to, even if you resign, they're going to continue to pay these folks and exempt them from in-person work requirements until September 30th. So that's another, almost 8 months. But the real question here is, what are these folks going to be offered after this? Like, is there going to be like a big, what do you call it? Like severance package that's offered, because it's not provided in this conversation right here. But the other thing is some of these folks are going to take on second jobs because their workload's so low. And if they know that they're going to be out of there in the next 8 months, some of these folks, let me know if you would be one of them, if you would be willing to take on a second job that you could work from home while you're doing the first work from home, because your workload's so low on the first one. Why not get 2 paychecks from 2 different full-time jobs? Y'all let me know.
In-person work requirements until September 30th, 2025, or earlier if you choose to accelerate your resignation for any reason. Some back of the napkin math, there are 2 million total federal workers. 6% of federal employees work full-time in the office. They think 200,000 would take this buyout. That's how they get to $100 billion in savings. The Trump team did not single anybody out with this email last night. Everybody got it. But they did single out General Mark Milley. He had his security detail taken away last night, and he could lose a star in retirement if it is determined that he was undermining the chain of command during the first Trump administration.
I want to thank you guys, because I asked a question on a previous live about why do people hate General Mark Milley? I didn't understand why. And you guys helped me to understand. You guys let me know that General Mark Milley was a traitor. He basically backstabbed Donald Trump in his previous administration. So just shout out to you guys for being so vigilant, for you guys for being so informed. I can't be everywhere. And so, but let me know if there's any other reason why I should know why so many people dislike this general here.
Spokesman for the Pentagon now says, the secretary informed General Milley today that he is revoking the authorization for his security detail and suspending his security clearance as well. The secretary has also directed the DoD IG to conduct an inquiry into the facts and circumstances surrounding General Milley's conduct so that the secretary may determine whether it is appropriate to reopen his military grade review determination. Milley's access, now limited. Access to the White House briefing room, on the other hand, now wide open.
We welcome independent journalists, podcasters, social media influencers, and content creators to apply for credentials to cover this White House.
I have gotten an overwhelming response from you guys suggesting that I should apply for this permission to attend the White House briefing meetings that Carolyn Levitt's describing right now. And I really do appreciate the support, you guys. I'm glad you guys are loving the content that I bring you guys, the commentary, the analysis. I really appreciate that. I visited Washington, D.C. My family and we had an amazing time. If you haven't visited Washington, D.C., it's an amazing place in spite of all the bureaucracy that takes place. There's so much history there, and there's a lot to see. There's a lot to do. I don't know if I want to live there, though, to be able to attend the White House briefings, but I'm going to keep it on my list of considerations. I'll say that. We welcome
independent journalists, podcasters, social media influencers, and content creators to apply for credentials to cover this White House. Starting today, this seat in the front of the room, which is usually occupied by the press secretary's staff, will be called the new media seat.
Caroline clearly did her homework. She was very well prepared to talk not only about the issues of the day, but also about everything that her boss had already answered, which is probably kind of hard when he is answering questions off the cuff roughly 10 times a day. Back to you.
Peter, what isn't the advantage, it seems, that she's with the president all the time? Mm-hmm. So she doesn't have to look in a book. She knows what he thinks. She knows what he said.
That helps a lot. But also just when the president is making it known so often what he thinks about stuff. There was nothing yesterday where she said, I haven't heard the president talk about this yet. I'd have to ask him. I think reporters are running out of questions because they are covering everything. It's like you could go to him with the New York Post and say, okay, let's start on the first page. What do you think about this? General Milley, okay, what do you think? Did you see this thing about the Obamas? That's crazy. What do you think?
And the funny thing is about Trump is, like, the man's shooting the questions down left and right. And, he's not leaving a whole lot open for guesswork. Like the Biden administration was like, they would always like tap dance around the questions, just straight up ignore you. Y'all remember Karine Jean-Pierre, right? Oh, Captain Gaslighter, right? Like, there was so much that we never ever got answers to. And that's why there were so many questions, because they would basically let the questions pile up because they just straight up ignore them. But the Trump administration, they are definitely approaching this completely different. And a lot of folks are appreciating it. Like they feel like, wow, like look at JD Vance, like my man's coming out. And he's like the most visible vice president that we've ever seen, probably. I mean, think about it. Think about the last 4 terms of presidents, right? Can you remember all of the vice presidents that we've had? If you can, type them up in the comments, because I doubt most people even remember the old vice president.
Think about that. Like, that's where we're going to be soon, just because he is talking so much.
She was also the deputy under Kayleigh McEnany when he served his first term. So she's very involved and experienced and knows his agenda.
And
yeah, there's no comparison between Corinne Jean-Pierre and Carolyn Levitt. I mean, first of all, like, granted, this is Carolyn's like first week, but it's everyone's first week. It's Trump's first week. It's JD Vance's first week. You know, the whole cabinet's first week. But again, Carolyn Levitt, she has had experience because she was Trump's previous press secretary back in 2016. So she's got experience. She needs to warm up a little bit. You know, she'll get back into her rhythm like normal. But let me know what you think, guys. I think she's doing a very good job on week 1. And it's a high pressure role. You're on the spot. You don't know what questions are going to be asked to you. You're trying to maintain transparency. And I think she's doing a phenomenal job already.
Peter, does Fox have the same chair, second over from the right on the front row?
Yes, everything with the seating chart is the same. Just there are a lot more people standing on the sides.
Hey guys, real quick, look behind these guys, right? Like, I was literally out there not too long ago, right behind them. If you look out the window behind them, technically, I don't know if you guys realize, but that window behind them is actually a large TV screen. But yeah, I was out there not too long ago, a couple weeks ago. I'll try to remember to throw a video up just so I could show you guys. But I love how their set is literally just so if you haven't already, please take a second, hit the like button for the video. I totally appreciate you guys. You guys are absolutely amazing. All the way to hit 1 million subscribers, and every one of you new subscribers. And I consider you guys family. Every one of you guys definitely helps us to hit our 1 million subscriber goal. You can just check them out. It's crazy.
It looked like dozens of people standing on the sides, whereas at the
right in the middle of New York City. That's Manhattan. You can see the Christmas tree, I think, is a little bit to the left. But anyway, awesome set.
The
awesome
Biden
set.
administration. Not only was there nobody standing on the sides, but there were empty seats. And then the only people who lost seats are actually White House staff. They added, there would usually be 2 aides that the press secretary could just kind of look down at and say, hey, we're going to get them something about this, right? Those 2 seats are...
I don't know how many people are into fashion, but I mean, I'm a big fan of these red bottom shoes down here that Kayleigh is rocking. Let me know what y'all think about the red bottoms, those Christian Louboutins.
Taken by new media outlets. Yesterday it was Axios and Breitbart.
Peter, what's the temperature in the room? Is it more adversarial like it was the first term, or is it more probative?
That's a great question. Yesterday it seemed like for the reporters in the room, and I was not there, Jackie Heinrich was there, but it seemed like for the reporters in the room and for Caroline, everybody was just kind of feeling each other out. They wanted to see how far they could push her with questions and how she would answer. And it's going to take time for reporters in the room and also for Caroline to develop a rhythm. But yesterday, I think, was just kind of everybody was feeling each other out.
And Peter, you said they're going to have some White House staffers kind of right there where she can turn and say, hey, well, what do we know about that? That kind of goes back to the first day of the Trump administration. You were in the Oval Office with the president and you asked him a bunch of questions, and one of them was about drones, and he turned to Susie Wiles and he said, can we get something for them on drones? And yesterday, the press, that's actually how Caroline started the press conference.
Yeah, some good.
That's a good point. I do remember Peter Doocy asking about that, and he literally and you guys helped me out because at the time Trump, that was like his day 1 in the office. Trump turned to his left and he was like, hey, Susie, can you get something for these guys on the drones? Because I don't really know what's going on the drone situation. And you guys helped me out because I was like, who is Susie? And a lot of you guys jumped in the comments saying that, oh, that's Susie Wiles, because there's a lot of new folks coming in that I don't necessarily know yet. So appreciate y'all.
Services there because it was only a week after I asked the president what the deal was with those drones over New Jersey that we heard so much about and now we hear nothing about. And she went out there with a message from the president who did get to the bottom of it, or at least got to the bottom of what they can say publicly. And he said these were FAA authorized drone flights that then were joined by a bunch of hobbyists who were putting up their own drones to see what was going on, but they were not adversarial. That is a huge news story that obviously there's so much going on. There are so many huge news stories, but that is a really, really big one.
Now, I will agree that is a huge news story. I think Peter Doocy is spot on when he says that is what they can at least release publicly. I think there's a lot more to it, but at least we got something. At least you can put, the American people to rest, or at least set their nerves at rest, because a lot of folks were not even realizing if the drones were adversarial or not. Are these enemy drones from China, for example? Like, the Biden administration was unwilling to answer the question, and at least we finally got something from our leadership of the country. So anyway, a lot of people were appreciative of that. I was appreciative of that. I would definitely have rathered more detail on the drones. I don't buy that that there were, I do buy that there were a lot of hobbyists out there with their own personal drones. But I do want more detail, but at least we can say, hey, these drones are not out to get us. They're not, adversarial drones that are attack drones, or just simply spying on us and collecting data, anything like that. So anyway, if you haven't already, hit the like button, share this video, and subscribe. And I'll be back on as soon as I can. Appreciate you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed.